Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher made the argument that the problem with socialism is eventually you run out of other people's money to spend. And that's the issue that we saw play out in Greece with their austerity protests, and now we're seeing it come out closer to home. And decades of financial populism have consequences because they become culturally ingrained and they're very difficult to overcome. But Neil, as we saw in Puerto Rico, you had higher and higher and higher taxes, eventually $70 billion plus in debt. 400,000 people left Puerto Rico for the mainland. All your smart, intelligent people with their businesses leave. And that's the danger that is facing Illinois right now. You already have the highest property taxes in the country. And as taxes continue to increase, you're going to see all those businesses leave. Smart people leave right behind them, and the people eventually will follow.
You know, Larry, one of the ideas they've submitted, and our Jeff Locke, who I hope to get to soon there, they're telling them, look, just charge, per trade.
Right.
The CME, pennies a trade. It will raise billions of dollars of revenue. No fuss, no muss. What do you say?
I say, well, look at Puerto Rico. Ask Puerto Ricans how that worked when all those businesses left. And I think that's really the example is it's already cost prohibitive to operate in many of the areas in Chicago's suburbs. And with financial institutions and financial transactions and big exchanges, they can move. They can relocate those businesses, just like businesses have been doing from high-cost states. Look at Connecticut, Neil. General Electric got taxed out of Connecticut and fled to Massachusetts, which is hardly an inexpensive place to do business. And now Connecticut's in trouble. They're looking at taxing the Yale Endowment and talking about all these crazy schemes. So I think Illinois needs to take a hard look at generating growth and getting their own house in order without taxing their best, future, and brightest minds out of the state.
You're seeing all of this, Larry, and I'm thinking in New Jersey, we had a case, it's my home state, a case of a billionaire, David Tepper, who left the state apparently some time ago, the big hedge fund manager, to escape the state's very high income tax approaching 9%, in some cases 10%, and he moved to Florida, where there is no such tax. So it is very possible that in this case, you see this hedge fund, like others, leave. So these people are very angry about a budget that leaves them in the middle of nothing getting done, programs getting cut. You can understand their frustration. But the people they hope to tap to ameliorate that up and leave. How real a threat is that?
Look, I get it. It's frustrating. It's very expensive to live in Chicago right now, and they have a right to be upset, and they should be upset at their own politicians for leading them astray and creating a culture of no innovation, of lousy schools, despite the tens of millions of dollars that gets poured in. They should be angry, and they should turn that anger on the people that have created this problem. But the reality is, it's a great narrative to say the top 1% is going to solve our problems by taxing them into oblivion. They'll leave. They'll all move to Florida. And what you're going to be left with is high property taxes for plumbers and carpenters and middle-class people who are going to have to bear the brunt of this excessive tax burden. So the story doesn't play out the way they'd like it to. It's great for a protest. Everybody wants higher wages, but in reality, they're hurting themselves. And I think that's the message that they're not getting here.